Good morning, everyone. First of all, thanks to SideFX for inviting us. This is our first FMX. We are a little bit excited. So let's see how that goes through. Gun in 60 frames. That's an interesting working title. We'll try to explain what that is all about during the presentation. I'm Manu. I work for the Marmalade for about 18 years now, and started out as a 3D artist. And during the years, I developed into more of a director, creative director, due to the construction of our company. And I'm leading the 3D department and make the communication between clients and artists and producers, and see that we get good stuff done and the client's brief fulfilled.
Yes, and good morning, everyone. First of all, I'm Michael. I'm technical director and lead animation artist at the Marmalade, and I worked there for 4 years now, I guess. Yeah, so let's get into it.
Let's get into it. The Marmalade, I don't know if all of you know us already. We are a visual engineering studio. We do more or less what you see here. It's a nice list of, we do strategy, concept, film production, CGI and post, audio, more or less the whole production pipeline, and that's where we are today. We started over 20 years ago as a simple, small Hamburg post-production house and evolved into a full-circle production house. This company is ever evolving, which is a bit also the reason why they could keep me for this long, because more or less every 2 years the company is a new company. We have new co-workers, new to-dos, new structures. But what stayed over the years at the core is that we are actually very passionate about high-quality video content, and this through all departments. So when we start something, we try to really do it nice and right. And next up is a little film, like a bunch of stuff where you can see where we work, what all is included, robotics and woodworking. So we have a big studio complex where we can actually do everything. We can build sets, we can build special effects rigs, shoot stuff which will be combined with CGI. So yeah, that's about the main thing. And it's I lost thread. Normally, post-production houses which start as small houses quickly specialize into certain fields. Some into characters, some into motion graphics, some into cars and stuff. And we were very early adopters of digital high-speed cameras, and then we developed this robot motion control system which was able to move as fast as high-speed cameras could shoot. And that led to a specialization in tabletop, which led our 3D department to work together with that. So we don't do much of motion graphic stuff in-house, because that's where we collaborate with houses that do this. We are more about combining the CGI and live action tabletop stuff to make the films happen. And very often it's also not clear in the beginning when we start a project how the project will be done. It could be full CGI, it could be live action, it could be a mixture, and this often changes and moves through the production. Our title is Condensed Storytelling, which comes a bit from, I don't know, 10 years ago we did commercial movies for brown shavers, for example, which featured product romancing, so it was 90 seconds of nice products and a complex demo part and animations. And these films don't live online anymore because they're very long and attention span got shorter, and that led to clients realizing that the core part of any commercial film, which for product-related films is the demo, became more and more important. And in these small demo parts, more or less, the whole brand message and product benefit and everything is condensed, and needs to be done in a very high quality way for them to sell the core stuff of their product. And usually what's around the demo is interchangeable. So if they have a good demo, it will live for 4 to 5 years, and the film surrounding it changes once to twice a year. That's more or less what we will talk about today. And now, to wake me up and wake you up a little more, we have a kind of showreel best of the last years, what we did, so that you have an outlook on some of the stuff we're going to talk about.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's do this. First project we're going to talk about is Toblerone. That was a quick, fun one. The agency had an idea of a film, or let's put it out that Toblerone has a new product. It's a praline. It's not the big thing we all know. A small praline with nougat cream and Torone pieces inside, and they wanted to feature their new product. And the agency came up with an idea for a party, and a woman was supposed to wear the Toblerone praline as a necklace, and then the lights go off, and the necklace is gone, and her friend ate it, and fun story all there. And then comes the demo part, which in this film had about 3 seconds airtime. And we wanted to show that this praline, or link to the film, by making a transformation from a diamond to a praline so that the product can be seen, recognized, and then show an indulgence moment where you see the amazing chocolate and filling and these Torone pieces here in super macro detail, which is something that you cannot just shoot like that, especially this image on the left. So as it always goes, we did a treatment. I just saw the first page, did a little teaser here to show, ooh, transformation, diamond to praline, and put together a small, because it is very short, animation, which actually won the job, and interestingly, didn't get changed much during the production then. Basically, that's that. Praline, diamond, praline, and their indulgence moment. So, pretty easy, but then reality sets in, and you take this praline and cut it off or break it off, because if you cut it, you'll see that in a second, it's very flat, and you want these super rich and tasty chocolate structures and everything, but the product itself is not very camera ready. So in the past, usually what would have been done is to build an oversized dummy in plastics by model making and everything. But this is a very tedious and time and cost intensive process. And that's why we decided, well, this is crazy to shoot this whole thing and build a dummy for this short animation. Let's animate this and try to do the maximum niceness out of this basis, or even that, which would really be reality if you cut this thing in two halves and try to do an indulgence moment. But we wanted to go there. And how we did that and what we did there, Michael will talk about that.
Yeah, so at first we needed to get in line with the client regarding how the shape of the inner chamber will look like. Is it more sharp, like the outer shape, or is it more rounded? And also, how thick will the chocolate edge be? So therefore, we presented a lot of options so we could settle in. And next, we went ahead and scanned a lot of tiny chocolate pieces with our in-house photogrammetry rig, which is basically a robotics arm that can automatically produce all the angles needed for photogrammetry. And we knew that we needed to very art direct the look of the outer edge of the praline. So we made 3 HDAs, one to extract patches from those photogrammetry pieces, then one HDA to place those along the breaking edge, and then one final HDA to bake all this into a texture, and one master cutting plane. You can see the patch creation in action. So we had the low-res and high-res photogrammetry model, and we could then just go ahead and draw a curve on top to define the patch. This then gets an own unique name, so all the patches can be selected by name later on. And yeah, you can see that we can customly define what part of the photogrammetry piece we want to use, and we have a nice overview of all the pieces that were extracted, and they have the name according to however we call it, so we have a proper overview. Next up, we take the breaking edge as an input, as well as all the patches that were created, and then we could place them either by scattering some of them manually, which is most of the time not what we want, because we want to art direct. So you could also hand place certain pieces. You can select which one of the incoming pieces you want, where to place them on the edge, give each piece its own size and scaling and rotation, and even if need be, you could wait a minute. You could create a null object on object level to even place them freely.
And rotate them.
And rotate them as one wishes. And all those then gets fed into our patch baker, where we could define, of course, the resolution of the final output map, define how each piece blends with other pieces with a unique fall-off. Of course, that you can see here how soft will each patch will be blended. And this then produces this one big continuous texture, as well as one big cutting plane that we use in the next step. And here you can see if I just scatter a bunch of them, it's quite interactive. And yeah, that's that. This is what the final placement looked like. So a lot of different pieces from a lot of our scanned chocolate bits, and you can see the high-res final texture on the right-hand side. And for the final mesh, we just took the cutting plane, added some more details, classic SOPs modeling, and then used the Boolean fracture to break the pralini apart. So that's our nice chocolate edge. And for the nougat filling, we went with a VDB-based approach. So we converted everything into the VDB, made some nice structures, and also I took the hand-placed Heron pieces, moved them around a bit to create a nice velocity field, volume velocity, and then I advected the VDB with this volume to get those nice smeary, swirly structures. Then the Heron pieces get subtracted from that. We do the same advection method for the textures. So we have also there nice smeary, streaky structures to place onto. And in the final step, we also scatter a bit of tiny debris because we saw that in the reference images. And yeah, this is what we ended up with. Different, or as we chose this procedural method, we could produce a lot of variations to decide together with the client which route to go. So this was the one. Do you want to take over?
Yeah, they had different moods for that. This was one reference we got on the left side, which for us was inspiring, because who would have thought that we have these weird, stony, gravel-like structures
almost
in
grainy.
there, grainy, who knows? Or these, we called it the ear. We need these ears in there which scatter nicely and stuff. Here, that was another option based on another reference. So we were able to prototype rather quickly with the system different variations, which is always helpful for the client. You will see this later also. We tend to not show one thing to the client, but show some options, which helps them take a decision and which helps us get something approved. Yeah, another option. And yeah, let's go on forward. That was basically Toblerone. Let's show that film in its final form again. Oh, there was one more.
This was then the
that
final.
was the hero.
This is the final nougat filling.
We lost the gravel.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so all that work for this short piece.
Because the thing is, if you don't have much time, every frame needs to be super tasty, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was that. First chocolate project for today. Now let's go cosmetics. A totally different thing. That's Nivea Cellular. It's a client of ours. You saw on the show reel that we did several things for them, and they came up with a new idea. And this time, it was about the cell, which gets plumbed and firmed and everything. And there's 2 ingredients in there, and it's a cosmetic film. So it's stuff people put into their faces. So the whole mood of the film needs to be very, very caring and gentle and soothing and uplifting, and everything needs to be elegant and all of this. That's the message that needs to be transported on top of the basic message that this thing plumps your skin up. And due to the brief of the clients, we saw a chance to do something nice here. And so we went in and did some moods. Because the product itself activates cell renewal, smooth deep wrinkles, and tightened skin, which we broke down into, okay, the cell is flabby, and it's firm, and then it's plump. And we took a plastic bag and a piece of blue fabric. There was no AI at the time, and quickly prototyped for the treatment an explanation of what we are going to do with the cell and how this world is going to feel. And then started working on that, trying to implement this, what we saw here, flabby, firm, plump, also into animation by having a flabby thing, getting firm, and then poof, plumping up. And then more or less the whole film followed these three principles. And then it got challenging when we really went into it, because they needed a split screen and they wanted a strong branding in the beginning, like a circle, zoom in intro into the thing. And of course, a transition camera move from that moment to later, how we called it, the wall, because of course here we see the cell, but later on you need to see that skin gets plumped, and you will usually have the infamous wrinkle on the skin, which then needs to go up, but not to 100%, because legal says no, maximum 98%. We'll show you the animatic progress during going through different iterations. Let's go. This was based on agency storyboards. And you see there's a lot going on.
Now you see the progress, like what changed over time. Started adding those blue laser thingies.
We got rid of the transition.
Thankfully. And then got rid of the blue laser thingies again.
Blue laser thingies got gone, and there's what we ended up with. Which works nicely together, the motion. I've always forgot about this microphone, sorry. The motion of the woman and the motion of the staff rising and the wall rising, so it was all very nicely related.
Yeah, and for the individual cell movement, we use PDG to produce a lot of variations regarding the initial inflating simulation, and ended up with basically this. These were our three favorite simulations for the inflating moment. And this then was combined with a classic shape animation. We made a plump shape and just basically animated a curve that made it a little bit springy. But yeah, basically this is the first part is simulation, the second part is classic shape animation. Nothing fancy there.
Absolutely. But isn't it nice and plump?
And what we did then is we built a basic cell wall out of hexagonal polygons, and placed or created some attributes that could drive the different actions of each cell, like the firmness and the plumpness. The first part, or the upper movie, shows the attribute that drives the firmness. The second one is the plumpness, and you can see the blinky motion is actually what makes the spring stuff happen.
Yeah, and which was quite cool, because we had this master asset which was doing it as one cell, but if you do a wall, you can't use it as is. You have to again separate the singular animation elements and stage them in a different way to be readable, entertaining.
And also we had to totally had to have a total control of where, when happens, because we don't have much time for the shot, of course. Yeah, so I basically just used the packdisk primitive, or packdisk sequence, I guess it's called, and copied it to each of the hexagonal polygons, and via VEX then just offsetted how the cache was read. And this gave us those nice, like just having one base simulation that we could reuse for all the cells. Then everything was unpacked and deformed by this low-res geometry on top via simple point deform. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we ended up with. Of course, there was a lot more involved, but we have other stuff we want to show you. But maybe watch it 2-3 times to see how actually, yes, all of what we just said nicely comes together. Especially in this split screen moments where in the beginning I was like, oh, because we don't really love split screens. So much to look at, usually very difficult, but here it's not bad and good side. They work together, and that was nice. Okay, back to chocolate. That's a bit where we always are. Chocolate, cosmetics, stuff like that. Be ready, shavers. Yeah. So Brady wanted a new demo. This was the old one they already had. So it's the classic principle, what's inside the candy bar. And they did not like the quality of it, and they wanted it more taste appeal, more indulgence, add a marmalade start, whatever that means, and improve on that. And of course, shoot that thing because they need maximal realism and taste appeal and stuff like that. And Ferrero has made a lot of bad experiences with the CGI productions in the past, not with us, but out there in the world. So it's always, the stakes are high. So we planned a storyboard, all to be shot, tabletop, robotics moving, rigs moving, and everything. Did an animatic for that, a previs, which we usually or always do if we shoot something, especially when the robot comes in, so that when you shoot table stuff, you're super nerdy on details, and the tabletop shoot takes long. And if you have a previs, which is approved by the PPM, you can use your shots, drop them into the previs live on shoot, and clients have a proof of performance of what you just shot, and you can move on and stuff. They didn't like it. So we did something else. We went into very entertaining, so that's one where we switch routes. We said, okay, if you don't like this approach, we will do it in CGI. And so we can do camera moves and show you the inside of that thing in a way which you never could do in live action. And we did that because while we started working on it, we realized some things. Here again, one would have needed to build a dummy, and we got their old dummies, which didn't look good. And what you see here is, on the left side, it's images they did, and they don't want that for their film. It's too perfect and too illustrated, and reality, again, strikes hard. It's super nasty. And that is okay, perfectly imperfect, with small, tiny holes in here and everything. And when you go like there, it's like, okay, let's do this in a controllable environment in CGI. And so we started off building that thing, the baguette.
The baguette. Yes, and we quickly realized that we needed very close-up, fine, nice, detailed air pockets to convey airiness and crispiness and all that. We went and utilized VDB modeling for the whole thing because it's ideal for organic objects. The edge flow doesn't really matter. Also, as you can see, you have those sharp shapes and those rounded shapes in the whole thing. So we needed a robust Boolean method as well as, yeah, if you take out, if you want to build all those airy pockets and all those fine structures, you can't get away with textures when you're that up close, so you need to model it, and yeah, VDB modeling is perfect for that. And here you can see how we created the breaking the edge break of the thing. We just draw basically a line, hand placed, of course, so it's exactly where the client wanted this to be. Those was then resampled, and we added some high frequency noise, and from that we made a big cutting object, as well as some smaller cutting objects for the little crumbs that break off during the breaking. All this then gets Boolean fractured, because I really like the VDB fracture, sorry. I really like VDB fracturing, as it's super stable and quite fast for high resolution volumes. And yeah, so we end up with all those different pieces. And of course, to convey the airiness, we scattered a lot of different scaled spheres. All those get also converted into VDB and then subtracted from the final pieces, and which gives us something like this, which looks very airy.
Oh, yeah, right. As we can do this and plan to shoot anyways, we did a reference shoot, which we love to do for these kinds of things, and had this nasty dummy and a proper DOP lighting the thing, and food stylist doing the swirls, and just shot some references to see how this would behave in reality if we did similar camera moves. How does light scatter through the baguette, and what's happening there, and how does that look, and have a basis to reference to when talking with clients. Yeah.
Also, those little nozzles there, it's called the ricciolo.
The ricciolo.
It's very important to the client, and as he was on the set with the food stylist, they could nail the perfect shape, and we had a perfect reference, as well as that, as there was a real DOP on set with proper lighting. We, of course, took an HDRI for later for the rendering then.
And things like that, doing these rituals with a food stylist, with the client involved, can save a process of 2 weeks of talking about, how does the ritual look like in Udemy, which we had anyways.
Yeah, so for all the chocolate action, we decided not to use any simulation, but rather procedural animation, and we used those also for those flying crispy balls. As I said, the pouring of the chocolate, or the Nutella, and the tearing, and also the flying crumbs. So no solvers were used for this production. And yeah, why did we do that? The client and we need full control over every aspect, and at every point of the animation, we want to have full control over the shape and the timing, as well as we did. And we need as well proper UVs to have nice structures flowing along the pouring string.
Yeah, and thing is, with something like this, all you see here, it's like how the spiral goes up, where the snake lays down and stuff like this. Clients are super nerdy about this kind of stuff. So brand managers, they go really wild when it comes to these things.
Yeah, and to do the pouring of the chocolate, I just basically built some spirals, and via wax, I just offsetted the point position along you. I show this here on a simple line. Yeah, it's just a little wax trick to let the point settle. That's all what was needed. And then we end up with a nice curve that's animating, and this gets swept. We made 2 sweep shapes, one for when it's in the air, one when it's settled. And as we made this procedural approach with the curve being animated, I had attributes to know when the curve is settling and when the curve is in the air, so we could blend those. Then again, VDB modeling was utilized, or at first we built in some dents from the crisps and used those UVs along the along the sweep to create nice noises. And yeah, of course, we needed to add the cholos, as you can see here. And all this then gets converted into VDB, smoothed, and what you will see in a second is that if we are meshing all this into a big VDB, you end up with some nasty UV seams, which you can see in a second, which are at the intersections of the different parts of the snake. And so what we did there was just to create an attribute whenever there's a seam, so we could blend the proper, the normal UVs with the triplanar in shading later on. For the tearing, also we went ahead and did not simulate anything, because same here as the pouring, we need full control over shape, timing, and proper UVs. And for that, we just placed a bunch of curves into the area of the tearing, deformed each end of the curve by the breaking animation. This then gets smoothed and resampled. Also, we extract one center curve that we could use to measure like how long is the stretch going to be. This then could be used for shaping the whole thing. Like the longer the center curve gets, the more I want to compress the shape. And also here, it's all super controllable at every point of time. And then, of course, we needed to tear the thing. So I rebuilt every curve 2 times from each end, or like split them in half, and could give each curve a certain threshold. So as the curve gets longer at a certain point, it will just tear apart. And with a rig attribute wrangle, we could then add a little bendy band at the end. Same goes for the tip. We use those middle curve, also tear that apart, and this then gets bended. Ah yeah, and also obviously this then gets meshed via VDB again. Some erosion, some smoothing, some subtraction, and for the UVs, which will come right now, we just extracted the outer curves of the most outer curves of all of them, and sweep those along our tearing shape. I'm faster than that has happened in the video. And yeah, so this gave us a nice skinned mesh with proper UVs that then also get transferred over, which also was very important for us in shading, to have those nice little lines flowing along the tearing. Yeah, so you can see, same, just like always, you have a previs, but of course you need some more iterations to nail the final choreography. This is the previs we ended up with. Then, what?
Final product.
Final product in all its glory.
And again, 5 weeks of our lives. Gone in a few frames. And then, of course, there's a lot of compositing and redshift trickery involved to make that look like that. But instead of going there, we want to talk about Houdini, not renderers, and a bit about how we utilize it, which you already saw. We would come to our last project. We have 5 minutes left. Let's do this. We can do it. Okay, Coffee Mate. That's a mixed media project, actually, where we shot most of it, but enhanced it, and without CGI, the shoot would not have been possible. We used the coffee bean we usually use, because it's a good one. We did it several years ago, but it's more or less the perfect coffee bean. And in that case, we 3D printed it and made a puzzle to be able to shoot these kinds of shots. And planned, for example, to do the intro to this film in CGI, but then a quality control came in and said, no, you have to shoot this, it will never look good. It's like these first calls, job is approved, and then external freelance quality control brand consultants come in and start challenging, which is always very interesting. That sets then the mood for the rest of the production. So we knew, okay, we have to shoot stuff. We can do some stuff in CGI, so we went ahead and did a previs for the shoot. Next thing you will see actually is a picture-in-picture. Upper left corner is the previs, and the big picture is, I think, the final film.
And it was very satisfying to see that our previs is almost frame by frame what we ended up shooting and producing at the end. So
yeah,
that's satisfying.
Exactly. So, yeah, to make this happen, so let's start with the beginning, the intro. We needed this bed of coffee beans and our bottle to fly in there, and then the camera to fly through into another world. And that was shot for real on a big tank with water and coffee beans lying on it, and with the robot moving, and the bottle was hanging underneath the robot camera in the beginning, and then a trigger released the bottle by air pressure. It was sucked on and then released, so it could fall at the perfect moment, at the perfect angle, camera following it, so just like we animated it. And then we brought that back into the computer and had to do
some more additional beans to cover the transition and to lose the bottle later on. And again, here we used a combination of simulation and procedural animation. We used simulation to get the first basic settled placement, standard RBD simulation, and then I extracted the center points of all those beans, and with some wags and wops, we just moved them. And also, of course, we had some hand animated pieces that had to fly towards the camera at a certain point to make the transition happen. And then we just copied to point all those beans back onto that. And this is what it looks like from a witness camera. And this is what the final animation looked like before rendering.
Which was funny. I mean, we were always, okay, cool, easy shot, we just do this in CGI, and then we had this weird combination trickery. Okay, coffee bean.
Yeah. Yeah, and for the shoot, we knew we needed a 3D printed prop that was broken apart, and the puzzle needed to be built in a way that it holds up, or that it's stable in itself, so that if you assemble the puzzle, that the top pieces don't fall down. So we need to make sure that this works, and then all of this was printed. And here you can see we always need more than just one prop, because obviously you shoot one, you prep one, it gets exploded, but to shoot faster, you of course prep the other one in parallel, so you can always have a fast turnaround.
Yeah. So these are first tests. We went into the PPM, so we knew, okay, the splash has to hit the thing and make a nice crown splash, and the bean itself has to explode with powder in there, because actually it's a coffee-induced coffee creamer. And then we had these, which had everything together for the backgrounds in the fireworks sequence. And what you already see here is the beauty of shooting with real elements is that you get a variance of action, which is unimaginable and not really. If you start doing this in simulation and doing the tests we just did there, which, I mean, it's in real world, like in CGI, you switch parameters, you change something, you have a look, what happens, okay, I switch this parameter, do something here, more air pressure, less, whatever. And this way you can very quickly do variations and educate yourself about what happens in reality. And this stuff is amazing, actually. And if I would have seen a simulation, I would always ask myself, is this right? Is this right? Here I know it is, and then you can work from there. Yeah, so that's... and then it got funny with the coffee bean. So here you see a basic composition of some elements that we shot, and a very nicely hand-painted coffee bean puzzle dummy, which then, when we went online, they didn't like anymore. It was too slick and not gritty enough and stuff. So we went in and tracked and nearly retextured every piece of this once approved dummy coffee bean and added some particles for more spritz and here and action. So just classic digital enhancement of tabletop. And yeah, that was our first slap comp of the thing to see, okay, does everything work? Added CGI beans in the background, and then in the end, it all went here. All the added elements, added atmosphere, and more splashiness. Blah, 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 blah. So that was an interesting combination of the techniques we have at hand.
Yeah, the best of both worlds.
And yeah, let's watch the final one. Funny thing is, in this fireworks shot, in the background, we still have some of the animatic coffee beans we did in Houdini, because it was too tedious to key and comp all of these, so we put ours in that we had anyways. Thank you. 46 minutes. We did it. Yeah. There's one more slide. I have to do it. I was forced to do it. By the way, we're hiring. Houdini, mid-level, seniors, new artists, art directors, everything, and skilled freelancers. There's a link. Just go to our website.
Or just speak to us when you see us.
Yeah. Alrighty. Room for questions.
Do we have room for questions?
We have room. Any questions? What? Give me a sec. I got a mic so we can capture it on video.
Hi. What were the timelines for the project?
Well, it's different from case to case. Usually we are 4 to 6 weeks, something like that.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Hi. In the beginning, you had a shot of the Toblerone, like the little diamond. And I think in one of your videos, you showed that the little chunks were actually moving, but in the end, none of that moved.
No, this was just a turntable to show our photogrammetry chocolate pieces.
Oh, okay.
Just to show, that we have very highly detailed photo scans or photogrammetry pieces, and from that we extracted just bits of it and Frankenstein, the new master breaking edge out of it.
Yeah, and the motion of the tiny pieces in this cream thing, that was there to create a more connected swirliness in the whole thing, as if it was
instead of
gerührt, nicht geschüttelt.
Instead of hand sculpting the nougat filling, we just simulated it, sort of.
Other question? Yeah.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I guess it's a more technical question about how do you decide when do you build a full-on HDA for effect, and when do you just try to put some transforms in, put some keyframes and do it manually? What's the trade-off, and when do you decide that? Do you decide that at the beginning of the project, or is it just an ongoing thing?
Yeah, it's always a process. Like if more and more manual work starts to happen, I feel that I should start thinking about the procedure. But what often ends up, if I have a big procedure that controls a lot of things in the end, then the director comes or the client comes and wants to change one tiny thing. But this is the beauty of Houdini. You are always able to just get into this one thing and then just add some extra motion on top or whatever. But yeah, it's for every project. It's a new decision. Like, will this be a master tool that we use on every shot? And yeah, will this be just simple one object moved, or do I have to think about a more complex setup?
Thank you.
Other questions? I don't know why, but suddenly I'm craving coffee and chocolate. Maybe moisturize
cream,
my
yeah.
face. Yeah. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much, guys. Excellent, excellent work. Thank you.
Thank you.